People think the most stressful part of the holidays is dealing with your in-laws. But they clearly never had to choose between an entire closet full of Louboutins. Now that's pressure. Today I'm helping you narrow down your Christmas wish list by unwrapping my entire collection. Every style reviewed, zero BS, so that you know exactly which style is right for you or that special person on your naughty list. From my 9 to 5 ride or dies to the ones that are so hot they cause car accidents. Watch this before you buy a Sokate on December 23rd, thinking you're gonna break them in by New Year's Eve. Or find yourself panic buying something you know is gonna get returned on December 26th. Before we get started, let's talk about sizing for a minute to help you avoid making some expensive mistakes. Trust me from experience, nothing sucks more than buying a beautiful pair of Louboutins only to realize that they don't fit. My size in regular shoes is a 7.5 to an 8. And I have wide feet. I know there is this myth out there that you need to size up in Louboutin, but you don't. My baseline is 37, and that is exclusively my Napa size. If I get a patent, I go up a half size and I get a 37.5. If you're trying to figure out your size, I would download that Louboutin sizing guide, but I will put a link in the description. Print that out and figure out your baseline. If you're still a little confused, I do have a full sizing guide that will help go into more detail on how you figure out your size in Louboutins. In this video, I'm going to tell you the width of the sole. This is really critical, especially if you have wide feet and if you have narrow feet. There are some shoes that either won't work for wide feet or won't work for narrow feet. In general, if a shoe is recommended for people with narrow feet, the sole of the shoe will measure 76 millimeters or below. And then if it's the standard shoe width, which is for regular feet, but will also work for narrow and for wide feet, usually the width is 80 to 82. And then if the shoe is made for wide feet, the sole will usually measure 85 millimeters and above. One more thing you need to know is that Louboutin shoes do not get wider as they get bigger. They just get longer. So if you're trying on a shoe and you think it feels tight around the edges of your feet and you're tempted to size up, don't. The important thing to look for is just the length. Is it long enough for your feet? Louboutins will always feel tight in the beginning, not painfully, not to the point where you're getting, sharp pains in your feet, but they're gonna feel really tight compared to regular shoes. This is because they will break in and mold to your feet over time, and they do break in a lot and get a lot bigger. All right, guys, so that's the basics. If you need more info, watch the full sizing guide after this video, but let's get started. The Dolly is just one of the cutest shoes I've ever seen. Like, seriously, the name fits perfectly. It's like a little doll shoe. It's also one of the most comfortable. And they do come in shorter versions, I think all the way down to 70 millimeters. The toe box is 82 millimeters, so it's actually on the wider side of the regular width. Check Neiman Marcus, Saks, and Net-a-Porter for new versions. The sad news is I did not find it on the Louboutin website, so I think it's being phased out in favor of the Dolly Mule. Right now, you can actually get the Dolly pump in the 85 millimeter version in nude at the outlet stores. This is definitely for first-time Louboutin buyers or anyone who is a beginner at wearing heels. If you're not a fan of toe cleavage, this is a good starting point. There is toe cleavage, but it's very minimal. So if toe cleavage freaks you out, this is your training wheels. You'll get a little taste of it without feeling like your entire foot is on display. So I think you'll be more comfortable with it. The Dolly just has enough to be sexy, but not enough to make you self-conscious about it. It's a round toe pump, but it's also slightly thinner at the top. This is really special because it actually slims out your feet. The stiletto is positioned directly under the middle of your heel. This is huge for comfort and for walkability. It doesn't feel like you're balancing on a stick. You actually have support. On top of that, it's got a thick heel tap. What this means is that you're gonna get a lot of wear, a lot of walking outside on pavement with the Dolly before you have to actually change out the heel tap. This is something that most people do not think about, but is incredibly important. In the end, the Dolly will survive your longest work days and still look amazing at happy hour. All right, moving on to my workhorse. The Fifille has become my most worn work shoe. Not the hot chick, not even the Dolly, this one. Heel height, of course, is 100 millimeters, and it's got the standard 80 millimeter width toe box. You can only find this one right now in the pre-loved marketplace, but they're very affordable. They're usually range between $300 to $450. The one thing I want you to understand is that these are durable. I have worn the red bottoms on these shoes to death, to the point where they're gonna need a resole soon. But you know what still has life left is those heel taps. Somehow I have not burned through the heel taps, and I walk everywhere in these things. So if you need a shoe that you can actually walk in, that can handle pavement, that you can wear to work every single day, this is it. The toe box itself is shorter than the Dolly and the Merci Allen, but it's wider up at the top. It's almost stub-nosed. If you have shorter toes that fan out a little bit like mine do, the toe box is perfect. If you have longer, slender toes, you might prefer the Dolly or the Merci Allen. The Fifille is my unsung hero. It's not trendy, but it is a powerhouse. It's a shoe that makes you look good and feel good day after day, year after year. Now let's talk about one of the most classic affordable styles ever. This simple pump shoe right here is from 2014, so it's 11 years old. The simple pump is exactly what it sounds like. It's a basic simple pump. I feel like it's my least sexiest pump, but sometimes I even get more compliments with this than with the hot chick and the Pigalle Follies. It's just such a classic style, and it seems to appeal to a lot of different types of people. The toe box width is 76 millimeters, so it's on the narrow side. It's actually the same width as the Socate. You can only find this now on the pre-loved marketplace, but the price range is from $200 to $400. I've actually even seen some of them closer to like $150. For a 100 millimeter, this shoe is super comfortable. It honestly feels like a 70 millimeter, not a 100. For me personally, I can only wear them for 6 hours straight, which probably sounds crazy considering I've just been talking about how comfortable they are. But the reason for that is the width of the toe box. Since it's on the narrow side, it is hard for me to last all day in them. So if you have wide feet, you need to consider that. My smaller foot that is 95 millimeters is okay with these and can do 8 hours. But my fat foot that is 97 millimeters is the one that hates the shoe. So it caps out at 6 hours and tells me it's done. That is because of the pressure on the side of my feet. If your feet are on the wider side and you really are set on a simple pump, get it in the Napa. The Napa helps. It's just a little bit softer, and so you're not going to feel that pressure on the side of your feet. So I do think that that is totally doable. It has a thick stiletto and a thick heel tap. I've lost track of how many miles I've walked in this shoe, and it's still holding strong. The toe box itself is definitely longer than the Fifi or the hot chick, and it's a gorgeous slender almond shape. If you have longer toes, you'll love this. If you have shorter toes like me, it somehow still looks proportional, and I feel like it actually makes your foot look longer and more elegant. The simple pump is the definition of timeless. 11 years later, and it still holds up, still looks modern, and still gets compliments. That is the Louboutin difference. Now let's talk about one of the best kept secrets on the pre-loved marketplace. The Merci Allen 100, it's incredibly affordable, comfortable, and underrated. It's got the standard 80 millimeter width, and you can find it for between $200 to $350. It is a steal at that price. If you love round toe pumps and you want more toe cleavage, get the Merci Allen over the Dolly. However, if you don't like toe cleavage, definitely go to the store and just get a Dolly and don't look for a Merci Allen. The toe box is that beautiful round shape. that is very narrow up at the top. Super slimming to your feet, very elegant. It also has a thick heel tap, so you're gonna get a lot of walking out of this one as well. The Merci Allen 100 is honestly one of the best values on the pre-loved marketplace. It's comfortable, it's classic, it's elegant, and it honestly costs way less than it should. If you want quality on a budget, this is a good pick. All right, let's take a deep breath and talk about the Socate. The Socate is gorgeous. It is one of the most iconic Louboutin styles, but it's also like a toxic ex. It's absolutely stunning to look at. Everybody wants one, but they will absolutely destroy you if you're not ready. It's a well-known legend that new Louboutin lovers will walk into a store, they see that beautiful Socate, and they fall in love. And so they convince themselves that they can totally wear it. Then they buy it, they take it home, and they try to walk, and they realize just how difficult it really is. Because of this, the pre-loved marketplace is flooded with new Socates. That is why I say it will destroy you if you're not ready. A lot of times, this ends up being people's first experience with Louboutin shoes, and it causes them to give up. And it's really tragic because there's so many other cool styles out there that will work for everyone. The toe box width is 76 millimeters, so it is on the narrow side. And that tiny little heel tap is only 5 millimeters, so it's one of the tiniest heel taps available. That is important to know because even if you conquer the Socate and can wear it all day, you'll need to be careful walking around outside on pavement. That heel tap will wear out fast, probably faster than you're gonna wear out. So you'll be replacing it constantly if you walk around outside a lot. The Socate now retails for $9.45. But like I said, the pre-loved marketplace is flooded with them. Socate was created in 2012 and was named after supermodel Kate Moss. She has very narrow feet, so that is why everyone recommends the Socate for people with narrow feet, is because it was made for that specific foot shape. I always joke that they're made for supermodel Kate type feet because they really are. They were made for a supermodel. And on top of that, you have to have that supermodel level commitment and determination to conquer them. It's not just a high heel. The Socate is a lifestyle. Now, I have been experimenting because I have a theory that maybe wide foot mamas can make a Socate work in the Napa. I will do a video on that soon because I'm still working with it. Long story short, the answer is maybe, but obviously it's very, very challenging. And as you can see from the footage, I feel like my foot is literally spilling out of the sides of the shoe. So you will have to be comfortable with that look. If you have regular width feet, you'll probably be fine, especially if you pick a Napa. And of course, if you have narrow supermodel Kate type feet, this shoe was made for you. The toe box is long and pointy, but it's not so long to where it feels witchy. I actually think it's like the perfect length. This is probably the longest toe box that I would feel comfortable with having short toes. On top of that, it's gonna lengthen your legs to extreme measures. You are gonna feel like you have the longest legs in the world. The pitch is dramatic. I mean, it is a 120, but honestly, it wasn't as bad as I imagined. I think these are still totally walkable, and I see why some people actually wear them to work every day. If you have the right foot shape for this shoe, it's definitely doable. This shoe will require a lot of breaking in. Just look on Instagram and TikTok. There are thousands and thousands of videos of people trying to document and vlog their journey breaking in their Socate. So it is definitely a challenge breaking them in, probably more so than any other shoe. I can attest to that. I'm still working on mine and it's hard. So I repeat, do not buy a Socate on December 23rd, thinking that you're gonna break them in and wear them on New Year's Eve. You will not make it to midnight, I promise. You're gonna need a little more time. I would honestly skip it if you're buying it less than 2 months before you need to wear it. Give yourself some serious time to break in a Socate. It's called the Socate for a reason. It's named after a supermodel. So it requires a supermodel level commitment and supermodel level determination. If you fall in love with a specific color, but you're not quite ready for that 120 millimeter challenge, I would honestly still buy it, but then I would get a couple of 100 millimeter shoes, wear those for a few months, get comfortable wearing Louboutin heels, and then work your way up to a Socate. The Socates are pretty widely available. I would check My Teresa. They have the entire Napa nude collection. So that is 6 different shades of nude so that you can actually match your skin tone. Nude colors in general elongate the look of your legs. If you're getting it in a nude and it's a Socate, you are gonna look like you have Amazon woman legs. You are gonna feel like a total supermodel. If the hot chick is the popular girl in school, the Pigalle Follies is her overlooked and understated best friend who is still turning heads. The toe box is exactly the same, so it is an 80 millimeter standard width toe box. Pre-love price ranges between $300 to $500. The Pigalle Follies is essentially the hot chick without the scalloped edge. That's it. They are the exact same shoe. Don't let that fool you though, because that shoe is criminally underrated. When I first tried these on, I wasn't honestly sure if I would like them without that scalloped edge, but they are so sleek and professional. Even the one with that red and black ombre pattern looks work appropriate. It's like professional with an edge, or professional and make it a fashion show. Like, it just looks so cool. Now, like I said, these are essentially the hot chick without that scalloped edge. But the weird thing about it is the Pigalle Follies always feel slightly tighter than the hot chick. I don't know why that is, so keep that in mind. If you try on a hot chick and maybe it feels a little loose, maybe go for the Pigalle Follies, or vice versa. If the Pigalle Follies feels tight, maybe go for the hot chick in that same size and material. There is tons of toe cleavage, so if you like toe cleavage, this is your shoe. One thing to note about both the Pigalle Follies and the hot chick: make sure to get your smallest comfortable size in the shoe. For whatever reason, more than any other Louboutin pump, this style feels like it wants to slip off your feet. I don't know if it's maybe the material on the back of the heel, because I do feel like it could be a couple millimeters taller to cradle your heel in better, but both of them feel like they want to slip off your feet. This is the most critical shoe to get the right size. You don't want to mess up and get a half size big, because they will fall off. Everyone obsesses over the hot chick, but the Pigalle Follies is just as gorgeous and stunning. Okay, now the shoe that I own 4 of. There is a reason I own 4 pairs of hot chicks. This is the shoe that started my entire collection, and honestly, if I had to keep just one style, it would definitely be the hot chick. This one, of course, it's a 100 millimeter 4-inch heel, 80 millimeter the standard width, retail now for $9.45. All of mine are 100 millimeter, but they do have a 70 millimeter version, and they do have a flat version as well. They also have a sling back, so if you're super worried about them not feeling secure on your feet, because we've talked about how they do kind of feel like they're not totally secure, you can always try the sling back version as well. On the pre-loved marketplace, they usually range for between $400 to $600. I've even seen them go for as low as like $350. Now, all of these are great colors. The Dorothy one is the most beautiful color I've ever seen in my entire life. I love the black patent too, because it goes with everything, and you can wear it to work and out to date night, or out with your friends, out to the club. It's perfect for pretty much anything. It's professional with an edge and sexy and clubbing all in one. Believe it or not, it's the gold leopard print one that started my entire collection. My husband actually bought them for me for work, and so those are my power shoes. As crazy as that sounds, I know some of you are like, what, really? Like gold leopard print? But really, I wear those when I have anything important or where I want to feel like my most confident self. I grab those. Like I mentioned, they are exactly like the Pigalle Follies. So it is that shorter toe box. There is massive toe cleavage. These are one of those shoes that a lot of times people feel like their pinky toe is about to fall out of. So you definitely need to be okay with extreme toe cleavage. I'm actually really surprised that I started out with this shoe, considering I never wore heels before and I definitely never had toe cleavage. But somehow I got used to the toe cleavage on the hot chick and now I actually like it. Now, if you notice on the gold leopard print hot chick, there is an extra layer of material around the top of the shoe. If you see a hot chick, like a limited edition hot chick like this one, and it has that extra material, buy it. Buy it. Believe it or not, that tiny little bit of material makes my feet feel so much more secure in the shoe. It is a godsend, and I wish every hot chick came with it. That is the insider secret that nobody tells you. One thing odd that I noticed about the shoe was that the Psychic Red Loubi patent feels looser than the traditional black patent. It feels like that Psychic Red Loubi color is maybe just a little bit softer or more moldable. So keep that in mind if you're buying a stylish shoe that you know is already a little big on you and then it comes in that Psychic Loubi color, because it's not just red, that comes in other colors like pink and stuff like that. Definitely consider getting your Napa size depending on the style of shoe and your foot shape. The Hot Chick 100 is my holy grail 100 millimeter shoe. It's not the tallest, it's not the flashiest, but it's definitely the one I reach for when I want to feel like my best self. All right, let's switch gears and talk about flats. The Vieira Night Spikes is my first Louboutin sneaker. I just got these, and if you think you want the sneaker, run to the outlet stores now. Like, stop watching the video and run to the outlet stores now, because I just got these for a steal. They were 75% off. These actually retail for $12.95. I couldn't believe it when I bought it because I thought it was such a great price. I had no idea that they were that expensive brand new. At the outlets, they have the white with gold spikes, but they also have black with silver spikes. So if white and gold isn't your thing, they do have other options. I was honestly blown away by the quality of these shoes. I actually bought them specifically to try to help people out with our Legit Check Reddit community, but the leather, the material, the constructions, it's incredible. It's so hard to explain, but you can feel the difference. These aren't regular sneakers. I talk a lot about how I love the Louboutin hug, which is basically that feeling when you put on a pump and the shoe hugs your feet. And I definitely feel that with the sneakers. I felt that immediately when I put them on. They give that same Louboutin hug feeling. I'm not usually a flashy person, with of course the exception of my Louboutin pumps, but usually my sneakers and sandals and stuff like that are very basic. And these, they do look flashy on camera, but I was surprised to find that they do not look flashy in real life. They look incredibly classy in real life. The spikes are actually smaller than they appear on the camera, and I think maybe that's why, is they're not over the top. They looked elevated and intentional, not gaudy or costumey. It has a very great Gatsby sort of a feel to it. So even if you're a minimalist, these might work for you. Don't write them off just because they look flashy on screen. You have to check them out in person. In regular sneakers, I am a 7.5 to an 8. I went with the 37.5 and they fit perfect. I actually think I might have been able to do a 37, but the 37.5 definitely does not look too big. I'm just actually having a hard time gauging how much room I have in that toe box in the length because of the spikes, because they're so hard, but they definitely feel perfect. If I ever get to a Louboutin store, I will try a 37 just to make sure that that is not a better fit. But for right now, I'm just going to let everyone know that true to size seems to work. That's also a nice thing about sneakers, is that you do have a little bit more of give than with the pumps. The most critical thing for you to note with the sneakers is that they will require breaking in. Just like Louboutin pumps, they're made to mold to your feet. So when you first try these on, they may hurt after an hour or so. I would not try them on and just go wear them out all day. You're gonna wanna wear them around the house a bit. I do think the sneakers are great for almost any foot shape. I also want to make sure that you take note of the weight. These are heavy. They're not air running shoes or anything like that. The sole is very substantial. When I first got them, I tried to walk heel to toe like I normally do in pumps. And it was so hard. I felt like I was walking with planks attached to my feet. After wearing them throughout the past week, they are now starting to bend and get more flexible and feel more comfortable. But they're definitely never going to be running shoes. All right, guys, let's talk about vintage gems. If you are a vintage lover like myself, you're gonna love this section. We're gonna get started by talking about the oldest shoe in my collection. The 2009 Armadillo 120 millimeter open toe platform sandal. This is the same sandal that Kate Winslet wore at the Montecito Awards Gala in January of 2009. It's such a cool vintage find, and it's incredibly affordable if you find it on the pre-loved marketplace. I've seen armadillos listed between $200 and maybe $550. I've actually seen some up to $650, but usually they're on the lower side of the spectrum. I got this one for $100, so I got it for a steal. I got lucky. It does need some TLC, but it's in very, very good condition considering how old it is. One thing that really surprised me about the shoe was how incredibly comfortable it is when you first put it on. The Nappa leather is so soft. I swear it's softer than the Nappa on current styles. With it being a platform, it's not a true 120. The pitch is closer to a 100 millimeter. Now, the one thing that I was surprised as hell to discover was that the width of the sole is only 72 millimeters. That means that the sole on the Armadillo is 4 millimeters narrower than the Socate. So technically it should be for people with narrow feet. But I had no issue slipping my wide feet into the shoe. I think that is because of that soft Nappa leather, and there is enough of it basically to go around your foot even if your foot is on the wider side. There's a couple of things you need to consider. There is a bit of a learning curve with walking in this shoe, and this is coming from someone who wears 100 millimeter Louboutins every day. I felt very wobbly and unstable with this shoe. There's a few reasons for that. First, of course, is I'm just not used to wearing platforms. Platforms in general can make you feel a little bit unstable. Then on top of that, with the sole being so narrow, you have less support underneath your foot. So I do think that impacts your stability a little bit. What that means, or at least what I've noticed, is that I feel like my foot has to work a little bit harder in this shoe. So I could see my feet wearing out quicker than with other stilettos. And then the actual stiletto on the heel is sort of angled in a little bit. It's not as angled in as it looks. It's not actually that dramatic because part of that is just the way the leather is shaped over the stiletto. But when you wear it, it actually feels like the stiletto is kind of being angled inward instead of going straight down to hit the floor. The wear on the heel taps definitely supports this too. If you're a vintage lover like myself and you're wanting an older pair that isn't going to cost you an arm and a leg, the Armadillo is the perfect one. The underrated queen that nobody knows about. The Dorissima is so underrated and overlooked. Most people have never even heard of this style, and it's such a shame because it is so incredible. Definitely keep your eyes out on the pre-loved marketplaces for it. It's basically a hybrid of three of Louboutin's most iconic shoes. It's got the shape of the Merci Allen toe box. It's wider at the bottom and a little bit narrower at the top. So it's gonna make your foot look a little more slender. However, if you look at it from the profile, it looks exactly like the Fifi or the Fifille. It's just got a shorter toe box. And then finally, I swear it has the exact same stiletto as the Hot Chick and the Pigalle Follies. So Louboutin basically took the best parts of all three of those shoes and put them into one. If you have longer toes, I would probably skip this one because I would be worried that the break is gonna come too soon where the shoe starts to angle up. And it might actually hit like the middle of the ball of your feet. Now, if you have short toes, I think this will work great for you. You're not gonna need the length in that toe box. The only thing you need to consider about is that this is thinner on the top than the Fifi and the Fifille. So for me, I definitely feel the edge of my toes around the entire front of the toe box because it's so thin up there. The Muchapump is so beautiful. That lace patent overlay on Napa is stunning. It's even more gorgeous in real life than in photos and videos. As you can see from this funny comparison clip, the Muchapump is very similar to the Merci and the Dolly. They're basically sisters. Because of this, the Muchapump should fit pretty much any foot shape, narrow, regular, or wide. I made a huge sizing mistake with these. I bought them in a 37 because that's my Napa size. Because I assumed that they fit like a Napa since the base is Napa, but I was wrong. That lace patent overlay is thick enough to make these fit more like a patent, not a Napa. So if you're looking at a hybrid shoe, you really have to pay attention to that. I bought the Cornielle specifically because of the width. The minute the lady told me the width, I was like, I gotta get those. The width of the sole on the Cornielle is 85 to 86 millimeters. That is by far the widest toe box I have in my entire collection. So this is a great shoe for people with wide feet, especially wide feet and short toes. Now the cool thing about this style, it has very unique toe coverage. The cut on the toe box is angled to follow the natural slant of your toes. What does that mean? It means all of your toes get the exact same coverage. Equal opportunity toe coverage. So you don't feel like your pinky toe is hanging out while your big toe is covered. There is not a ton of toe cleavage overall on this shoe, as you can see, but it is even. The length of the toe box is about the same as the Hot Chick, maybe a pinch shorter, but it's wider up at the top than the Hot Chick. So there is a little bit more room in there for your toes to spread around. The stiletto is also thinner, so it looks great, but that heel tap is gonna wear out very quickly. The first shoe is the Fifi 120. This is my holy grail 120 millimeter. I knew the minute I put it on, it was the one. The toe box is basically the same toe box as the Fifille. This one specifically, I found it by just looking up a Fifi and it was mislabeled as a 100. I found that very common. For whatever reason, the Fifi 120 is often mislabeled as a 100. So if you're looking for this shoe on the pre-loved marketplace, just look for a Fifi and then look at the photos to determine whether or not it is a 120. Now you may like it if you have narrow feet, but I do think that you would probably prefer the Socate, depending on how long your toes are, because this is a shorter toe box. The pitch is really easy for a 120. I think I could 100% train myself to wear these all day. This is a straight up pinup shoe, like Betty Page vibes, 1950s glamour, vintage Hollywood, all rolled up into one. It's super classy. It's the perfect date night shoe. And if you want to feel like a bombshell, this is the perfect shoe for that. This will cause car accidents, 100% guaranteed. I will be doing a full 120 challenge video, similar to how I did the 130 millimeter challenge video with the Merci, where I will compare the Fifi 100 with the Fifi 120. That way you can decide whether or not that jump in heel height is right for you. That the Merci 130 is one of the hottest, sexiest shoes I've ever owned. It is insanely expensive, assuming you even find it, but if the Fifi 120 gave you Betty Page energy, this is like Betty Page energy on crack, like Betty Page and Marilyn Monroe mixed together. It is such a straight up pinup vintage bombshell shoe. This will not only cause car accidents, it will cause multiple car accidents. I'm talking like 30, 40 car pileups. It just makes your feet look so slender and dainty, yet somehow your heel height is over 5 inches. It's crazy. This shoe will work for narrow, regular, or wide feet. This is definitely for experienced heel wearers only. Don't jump from a flat into a 130. You will definitely regret it. You'll feel like a baby giraffe. If you want the ultimate sexy pinup statement shoe, this is it. If you want a full deep dive into the Merci Allen 130, check out my 130 millimeter challenge video. The Hot Chick 130, I'm including this as an honorable mention because I did own one briefly, but I didn't keep it because I got it in a size that was too small. Sadly, I only have a few photos of it. It's almost impossible to walk in, way harder than the Merci Allen 130. And that is because it has the Hot Chick toe box. So it's very short and pointed, but they're incredibly sexy and they are a collector's item. It is like the ultimate challenge to be able to wear a Hot Chick 130. Despite being almost impossible to walk in, they're also impossible to forget. I still search every day on Instagram and watch other people walking around in them because they're just so amazing to look at. The Hot Chick 130 is not for mere mortals. It's for superheroes. But if you're determined and if you're committed and if you're ready for a challenge, go for it. All right, guys, that is my entire collection as of 2025. What I want you guys to remember is that the perfect Louboutin isn't the one that looks the best in photos. It's not the most expensive. It's not the one that's trending on Instagram. It's not even the one that's the most comfortable. The perfect Louboutin is the one that makes you feel like your best self. For me, that's clearly the Hot Chick because I have 4 of them. They're not the tallest. It's not the 130. It's the 100 version. They're not the trendiest on Instagram. They're not the flashiest, but they're the ones that make me feel confident and powerful. For you, it might be the So-K or the Dolly or even the Simple Pump. Point is, buy the one that makes you feel like your absolute best self. Know your feet, know your lifestyle, know what makes you feel amazing, and then buy that shoe. That's the Louboutin that's worth every penny. And there you have it, guys. Way less stressful than choosing between an entire closet full of Louboutins and dealing with your in-laws. Now you know exactly which style is right for you or that special person on your naughty list. No more panic buying on Christmas Eve. Drop a comment and let me know which style you picked. Happy shopping and happy holidays, Mama Sharks.